Greetings, everyone. Science Viking here, coming at you from a lovely, fresh, new recording setup. Yeah, I got a new microphone, and because my old recording software wouldn't work properly with one of my later projects, I'm also recording this on new software. I've done some tests, but this is the first full pushing the software and stretching its legs, so I suppose it's appropriate that I move into the new toys right as we get into Anor Londo. Now, once you defeated the Iron Golem, you'll see this thing. This is not something failing to load, this is really here, and you can examine it. And that happens. Don't worry, these are not enemies. They'll grab you and transport you to Anor Londo. Really interesting way to enter the city. What's especially weird is there are other actual enemies that look exactly like that inside Anor Londo, so I'm not really sure what's going on. Beautiful city though, isn't it? This is also one of the most difficult areas in the game. I mean, it's probably going to be responsible for the majority of my non-boss and boss outtakes this playthrough. Did I take damage from that? No, I didn't. It sounded like I took damage from that. And welcome to Anor Londo. This area is going to be split up into multiple parts, both because it's quite long, and because, frankly, the boss of this area is so incredibly hard that I'm going to die a whole bunch of times against it, and combining that with the rest of the playthrough will just make it take forever for this to get out. Just ignore these guys. They are enemies, but you have to get pretty close to them for them to attack you. Just keep sprinting. Just keep sprinting. Really beautiful place. Stark contrast to everything else we've seen in Dark Souls so far. And if you go down here, not only is there a bonfire, but there's a Firekeeper.
Well, you are a rare visitor. Welcome to the lost city of Anor Londo, chosen undead. If you seek Lord Gwyn's old keep, exit here and head straight yonder. If you are the chosen one, a revelation shall visit thee. What follows thereafter depends upon you.
Let's talk to her again.
What is it? What am I? Well, I am the keeper of the bonfire. If not for me, what beacon would there be in this lost city? A gatekeeper and a guide. That is my calling.
Interesting. We don't have any Firekeeper souls, so we can't reinforce our Estus Flask. I'm going to first see if I can reinforce my gear. I can. Let's check out reinforcing weapons now. Reinforce the boulder side sword once, and then let's check out the bow, because the bow is something I'm going to be using a lot. There. That's that, and let's level up. How many... Okay, I'm not putting all of my levels into attunement, but I'm going to put one. Vitality. Dexterity. Do I want more stamina? Or do I want more damage? Or do I want more health? I'm going to go with another point into vitality. Alright. That's that. We don't want to walk around holding that many souls. Let's also change our attuned magic a little bit. Let's drop Great Fireball for combustion or Great Combustion. Let's go with regular combustion, because I want a close range pyromancy. Okay. Now, there's quite a bit of exploring and looting to do, but none of it is necessary, and I'm planning on doing it in bonus footage. There's also a mimic nearby, so if you want to loot the treasure chest around here, be careful. This is the mimic that I'm going to use to demonstrate what happens to you if you decide to open a mimic chest without hitting it. Thing is, I'm not hollowed right now, and I will almost certainly die when I do that, so I want to save that until I've died due to natural causes at least once. Of course, natural causes being torn apart by monsters, but well, this is Dark Souls, so in Dark Souls that is natural causes. If we head down the spiral staircase, we see a Bell Gargoyle. Yep, used to be a boss, now it's a regular enemy. You don't even warrant large arrows yet. Unfortunately, we aren't going to be able to summon Solaire for this one. Fortunately, it's pretty easy to just chase it down here, lock onto it and throw a few arrows into it, and then retreat back up the stairs. Its attacks aren't that hard to dodge. I don't believe it's possible to accidentally roll over the railing either, so unlike in the actual boss fight, you can't accidentally kill yourself. Oh, that one hit. That's a pretty long distance. If you get impatient, you can decide to charge up and mix it up in close combat, which I've decided I want to do. I've demonstrated the safe way of doing this. Now for the not safe way of doing it. Oh, they have lightning breath. Guess that's their version of this guy's version of the fire breath attack. I have not seen that. I've actually never seen that attack before. But yeah. Ooh, the gargoyle helm. Let's compare that to my normal helmet. It's all 15s. So, superior to pretty much everything that my chain helm is doing, so I'm going to equip that. This is the outfit that I spent the majority of my first ever playthrough wearing, actually. I was even playing as a pyromancer for that. So, I used a battle axe because foolishly I didn't think of equipping a weapon that scaled better with dexterity, but otherwise, yeah. Imagine this character with a battle axe and a short bow, still using the Baldur's Side sword with a full set of chainmail and the gargoyle helmet. And you have my first ever character. Now, if we go straight, there's nothing we can do. You can try to jump that. Lord knows I did the first time I got here, and I died. And you would die if you tried to jump that. We actually need to get into this cathedral area. And to do that, instead, at the bottom of the stairs, you turn either right or left. You can do either, and everything eventually comes back around. I'm going to go with right. Right from if you're facing away from the stairs. And hop down here. Let's explore this area a little bit, because I'm fairly certain there's treasure here. Yep, if you look at the chain, this is not a mimic. Still going to hit it just in case. Because it's always better to remember to always hit it just in case, because you will misread it at least once. That gargoyle didn't give us very many souls. Also, something I was going to mention earlier, if you hit the gargoyle's tail enough times and cause enough damage to its tail before you kill it, its tail will come off and you will get the weapon, the gargoyle tail axe. That is, now getting that weapon is necessary in order to acquire the achievement for acquiring every unique weapon in the game. There are actually several bosses that have these tail or body part weapons. They're usually tails. We can use this to get back up to where we were. They're usually tails. Now, in order to... Now, once again, this is why it's the hardest achievement in the game to get, because, remember, you can't save in Dark Souls, so if you kill a boss before causing enough damage to the right body part to acquire the weapon, you are out of luck. Alright, now let's get our bearings to figure out where exactly we are. I am where you would be if you walk down the flight of stairs, turn left, and then drop off onto this ledge. From this ledge, you will see a single, what I believe is a flying buttress heading towards the chapel. Step onto it, and remember to breathe. Be patient, this is dangerous. There's a very good chance of accidentally falling. Because the thing is, the surface isn't entirely flat, we're kind of on a curved surface. I don't believe that you can end up sliding off, but I'm worried that I might. Careful. Almost up to the top. And at the top, you need to very carefully drop off. Carefully. I'm standing on air. I guess I'm walking on sunshine right now. Once again, Dark Souls hitboxes being strange. Carefully walk off. Try to be angled towards the building we drop off, and you'll see there's a hole in the glass, which we can walk through. And we encounter these guys. They're not that dangerous unless they swarm you, which won't happen up here. The real danger will come in a moment. Oh, you have Nestus Flask. Oh, too bad. The real problem is, so we're on this side of the raised area, and we want to get to here. But we can't because there's bars. So let's go back to the side we entered on. And let's investigate over here. But there's bars. But after all the effort we went through to get here, there has to be something here. Well, there is, and I've walked past it twice. The ladder. Climb up. And see the extremely narrow rafters we are going to be operating on. Yeah, this is going to be challenging, viewers. This is why you want a ranged weapon. Because fighting the Painted Guardians with anything other than a ranged attack while you're up here is suicide. Do not attempt to melee them. You will die. Carefully, patiently walk along this area. You will take damage. You will take a lot of damage. Okay, you won't take a huge amount of damage, but you're pretty much going to have to let them hit you a couple of times. And then just heal. Okay. Coming up on the first Painted Guardian. See how I'm just sitting here and taking the beating. And that was a mistake. Back in a second. Okay, I'm back on the rafters. And while I was right to accept taking some damage, I think I accepted too much. There is a better option, which is to go into first-person mode and to snipe these guys. Probably easier on a console. But, like I said, taking a bit of damage here is really inevitable. It's a matter of keeping track of how much damage you can afford to swallow in order to get through this. Okay. Yeah, excuse my getting a little quiet. This takes a lot of concentration to do properly. They say Dark Souls is hard. It's moments like this that are part of why. Let's see if I can snipe you. Wasn't even close. I think I need to get a little closer. Okay. The issue is, unless you manage to get the camera lined up dead center, you will gradually drift sideways as you walk. So you can't just attempt to do this in one continuous motion. You have to stop periodically to course correct. Yep, even when they try to charge you, you're generally better off just repeatedly shooting them. Now, once you're here and see this chain hanging from the chandelier, hit it once, carefully, because with pretty much every weapon, your character attempts to take a step forward as they melee attack, and that can easily kill you. Once you hit that, the chandelier will fall down, and we can collect the loot from it later. Okay. Keep walking along here. Thing is, the Painted Guardians are probably the least dangerous enemies in here. Alright. Through here. One of the reasons why I'm doing Anor Londo in 2 parts is because this area contains the most infamously difficult boss fight in all of Dark Souls. Pretty much If you've heard people talk at length about the difficulty of the boss fights in this game, this boss fight has almost certainly been mentioned. The boss fight is Ornstein, and I believe it's pronounced Smo, but I've never been 100% sure what the correct pronunciation of his name is. But Dragon Slayer Ornstein and Executioner Smo, or Smow, or Smaug, whatever. Well, that was close. Breathe a quick sigh of relief, chug down some of that wonderful Sunny D, and keep walking. Oh, that's how you get that. Alright. At the fork, turn right. And as tempting as it is to just hop off to try to get to that ledge without having to feel your way all the way over the ladder, you won't make the jump. Just go for the ladder. Partially because a fall from these rafters is going to be fatal no matter what. But yeah, Dragon Slayer Ornstein and Executioner Smo. I'll go into a bit more difficulty about why exactly that boss fight is hard in the second part of Anor Londo, which is the part where I actually fight them. But in short, they're probably the hardest boss fight in the game, and it's the only boss fight in Dark Souls 1 against two enemies who are not identical. They actually have different fighting styles from each other, as you'd expect since they have different names. Every other boss fight in Dark Souls 1 is against two enemies that are basically the same as each other. So, there doesn't appear to be anything down here. So you want to be really careful when dealing with them. Alright, traverse the web light. Still not a boss fight. We're quite a ways away from the boss fight. However, we are going to encounter something else. And that something else is more Bell Gargoyles. The center of this is a lever. We're going to want to operate that lever. This lever will actually rotate the platform that we're on. You see, we get this nice, lovely cutscene showing us what happened. And now, this platform is acting as a bridge between us and the bonfire we last rested at, and we appear to have awakened some angry Bell Gargoyles. Myself a lovely Great Chaos Fireball. I meant to do that. Okay, I guess when they fly up to use their fire breath, or lightning breath, those are invincibility frames because that was a direct hit. It's okay, Dark Souls, I can never stay mad at you. Come on. You do certainly test my patience sometimes. Swig. Yeah, we got a Gargoyle's Halberd, which is actually what one of my other characters is using right now. The character that I used to test my recording setup, actually. I have a different character who I played through Sen's Fortress as that character to test my recording equipment to make sure everything worked. Anyway, if we head down the spiral staircase on this platform, we can get into the ground floor of the chapel we were just in. We pull this lever that's on our right, and nothing happens. Be careful. The Painting Guardians aren't that dangerous individually, but there are a lot of them and they like to ambush you. You kind of want to try to lure them out one by one. It won't completely work, but you don't want to try to take them all on together. Nor do you want to fight them in such an open space. The lock on. Dodge roll. sprint. As I keep saying, there really is something, a lot of situations that you can survive by knowing when to just run away. Now I can use this pillar as cover. Come at me. And they'll come at me in wonderful, lovely single file, displaying their lovely mook chivalry, which I do not share. Well, that's a few more of them down, and I'm accumulating quite a supply of souls. I'll be able to level up again soon. But there are even more of them. There are a lot of them. Lure them towards that other pillar. It's easiest to fight them if you have cover, because they're more dependent upon ranged combat than I am. That never gets old. Alright. And another one. Yeah, there are a lot of them. These guys are like cockroaches. They're just everywhere. They're like cockroaches in most restaurants. Actually, I really hope that's not true. But after some of the things I've seen. Okay. A couple more over here that I want to kill so they don't just secretly gank me later. You thought you could hide behind the pillars. Only I get to hide behind the pillars. Conveniently, their Estus Flask doesn't quite restore them above single strong attack being killing. Single strong attack being killed by. I think I just became Yoda there for a second. And we get Great Magic Weapon. Not a bad sorcery if you're a sorcerer. I'm going to stay away from that painting. That painting takes you to an optional area if you have the peculiar doll in your inventory. That area it takes you to is called the Painted World of Ariamis. It is completely optional. You do not need to go there ever to finish the game. It does contain the Occult Ember, which can be used to ascend a weapon as occult. Once again, Andre is the one who does so. Occult weapons do extra damage to Ornstein, but not Smo, so they can make the boss fight of this area at least somewhat easier. Also, see this loot, the Black Iron Helm, Armor, Gauntlets, and Leggings, and the Black Iron Great Shield? That is Tarkus's gear. Yeah, it appears that after dealing... He was on this adventure along with us, and it appears that after making it past the Iron Golem and showing just how tough he is, he died because he fell from some rafters. Bit of an inglorious death. Actually kind of sad, considering how tough he is. In fact, considering how effectively he can take on the Iron Golem, it's kind of become a meme. Tarkus is better at the game than you. Head back up the stairs. And I have more souls than I want to risk on the next part of the game, and the next part of the game is going to involve quite a bit of dying. So I'm going to quick nip back to the bonfire, level up once. I'm probably going to put that point into dexterity, and then I'm going to take on what will be the last part of this video. Back in a second. Alright, we're back. And now that we have this pillar to act as a nice bridge between the bonfire and this cathedral, we can start on the final leg of our journey. Because, well, the Lordvessel's in that cathedral and we need it. Now, you may notice some things being different, like the fact that I have no souls, and it's pretty unlikely to have 0 souls just from leveling up. Yeah, I've died. Quite a few times, actually. So, that's one of the reasons why I'm doing the inside of the cathedral as a separate video, and I'm going to end with this video once I get inside the cathedral, is because it's already taken me long enough without dealing with the boss of this area. Now, at the top of these stairs, we see 2 more of these giant guys. We could fight them, but it really isn't worth it. Their shield blocks 100% of everything, and nothing I can do will break their guard. So I'd have to get behind them or under them to damage them, and it just isn't worth the effort. So instead, I'm going to just dodge them. So we want to go right. So aim yourself to the right at the top of the stairs and just sprint. The guard on the right will swing at you. When he does, jump, and you will usually not be hit by that attack. Because now I've been hit by that in a while, this kind of doesn't bode well. Keep running until you get over here, and the knight will very quickly just kind of quit following you. They don't follow you very far. See, he's already backing up to return to his post, so we don't need to deal with him anymore. The next thing to do is to take on these gargoyles. These are the same kinds of gargoyles that transported us into Anor Londo, and so I blame them for all of this. I don't blame Frampt for telling me to go here. I don't blame myself for believing him. I don't blame the enemies that have actually killed me. I blame the gargoyles. I'm just that arbitrary. The interesting thing about these gargoyles is that you can actually knock them into the abyss, and if they fall into the abyss, they will die. Despite the fact that we've seen them fly in cutscenes, if you knock them into the abyss, they die. I'll see, I should be able to get a chance to demonstrate that with this one. Okay, that was frustrating. Decided to stop being locked on after I already hit the fire button. But, yep, there, and he's in the abyss, and he dies. Either they have cutscene wings, or these are like the gimped gargoyles that didn't eat their vegetables when they were younger and thus grew up to be weak and scrawny. Remember to drink your milk, kids. At the bottom of... Also remember, these guys have very little poise. At the bottom of this ramp are two more gargoyles. You want to poke your nose out to get the attention of the gargoyles, and then retreat back up the ramp, because the gargoyles can't actually fit up the ramp. One of them will usually fall into the abyss, and you can usually mostly stun lock the other one. Sometimes he'll get into a position in the ramp where if you lock on, your arrows will always miss, but you can still hit him by aiming manually, or just by running down and stabbing him with a sword. Alright, one more, and he's down. You can see I'm running low on arrows. I may have to go make a trip to Sen's Fortress to get more, which would actually be the second time in attempting to record this segment that I've had to go back to Sen's Fortress to buy more arrows. Now, if the snipers are still shooting at you, you want to hide behind this pillar until they forget that you exist. You'll be able to tell they've forgotten that you exist because they stopped firing. After that, run out from behind this pillar and run up this ramp. You really do want to sprint. You have nothing to lose by sprinting anyway. At the top of the ramp, just wait. You may want to come out and try to snipe them from the corners of this pillar, but don't. Their arrows have huge knockbacks, so if you're hit at all while you're in that position, you're pretty much guaranteed to be sent into the abyss and die. So you won't be able to kill them before they kill you. Just wait. When they stop firing, which they have now, you can tell the sound has ended, then move over to the edge here. Check to make sure that the guy up there hasn't seen you. And then head up. You want to avoid standing still as much as possible, because being hit once while you're on that pillar can cause you to fall. Don't sprint or dodge roll as you're climbing this, because you want to conserve your stamina. At the top, you will now need to dodge roll to avoid damage from the arrows. Okay, take a drink now. Grab my bloodstain. Now, that knight is gone. We went to the right, we killed the knight on the right. Now, you can drop down here to the fog wall to proceed with the level. Or, if you're a glutton for punishment, you can attempt to take on the second knight. Why would I do this? Because there's an item that he's guarding, and that item is the soul of a hero. So, I'm going to, perhaps foolishly, attempt to take him on. I am cheating a little bit. You see, his arrows, which have a slightly broader hitbox than mine do, cannot make it through there, but mine can. Just get him into position and just keep spamming arrows. These guys may look like Black Knights, but they're actually Silver Knights. They are nerfed by comparison to the Black Knights we've been dealing with before. The downside is they respawn when you rest at a bonfire. Alright, the last thing we need to do, almost, is to carefully feel our way along this ledge. Now, if you're smarter than I am, and more responsible than I am, you will light the bonfire on the other side of this area, and then come back here for this. The downside to doing that is it means you have to do this entire section twice. And this isn't Dark Souls 2, so everything respawns. Alright, be careful and be patient. Pillage the corpse. Soul of a hero. Those give you, I believe, around at least a few 100,000 souls. I don't remember exactly how many. Now, climb back up here. If you've already lit the bonfire inside the cathedral, you can instead use a homeward bone to get out of that. But now, both of the Silver Knights are dead. We have the soul of a hero. Now we're going to just feel our way along here. If possible, you want to be walking slightly toward the wall. Carefully, patiently, feel our way around here. And drop down. Victory achieved. I feel more relief after doing that than I have after finishing most boss fights. So the trick to what I did is, after getting to the top of that ramp, run to the right to get close to the Silver Knight, and instead of trying to block, just keep hitting him with Combustion, repeatedly. Combustion can reliably hit him, and will do enough damage to stagger him, and eventually he'll die. This is better if you use Great Combustion, but frankly, I came up with this plan while I was traveling between... Actually, while I was recording, I had this idea. Otherwise, I would have brought Great Combustion. Now also notice that once you're down here, you can't go back. That's why I decided to take on the second Silver Knight before coming down here, is because otherwise I'd have to repeat the entire section. Now, we traverse the white light. Don't worry, Dark Souls is not sadistic enough to place a boss on the other side of this. The bonfire will be on our left. So I go through this door to our left. Before you do anything else, earlier room with a bonfire... and Solaire. Let's talk to Solaire.
Oh, there you are. You've been quiet these days. Smooth summoning out there. Anytime you see my brilliantly shining signature, do not hesitate to call upon me. You've left me with quite an impression. I would relish a chance to assist you.
Ah, Solaire. Let's light this bonfire. And then rest at it. And that's going to be the end for this part. I'm not going to push my luck any more than I already have. So, this is Science Viking, signing off after that whole ordeal. I love you all, and I'll see you next time. You have to get around the shield. Well, that's going to be an outtake. Back in a moment. I'm not sprinting yet, because if I do, I'll probably fall. Now I'm sprinting. And I'm already dead. And you see why this area is hard. So wait a second. And see, the giants decided to just leave. They'll do that, where it's like, if you're too far away from the area that they're guarding, they'll just kind of get bored. And that'll be another take. And work around here as quickly as you can. Do not sprint yet, because you won't make it. And fall off the ledge. And I'm dead again. This section is hard. If you can get close enough to them, you can get them to draw their melee weapons. And I've fallen anyway. Well, I was closer. You want to close with the one on your right. Right? Until he draws his weapon. And then die anyway. In a second. And I'm dead. These guys are tough to deal with, people. I can't see myself, that's frustrating. Okay, I'm gonna retreat back down the ramp, and I'm dead.
And then I'm left to hit you.
You get to the top, turn right. Now you're going to need a dodge roll to avoid the arrows. And fall into the abyss. Okay, and I'm dead. Well, that's the longest I've lasted.